In a garden shed with tools all around, click and turn's magic makes the sweetest sound. Spinning lumber and squinting under the light, crafting decorations until the light.
Hello, it's Paul from Click and Turn here again for another Friday's trip through the lathe cave. And today, because I know you guys like a bit of banksia, I've got myself one ginormous lump of banksia. So a gnarly old nut from Australia. It's probably not a nut. I know it's not a nut, but I'm going to call it a nut. Anyway, so I'm going to do something with that. But first of all, I'm going to lop off the ends with my bandsaw. I won't film that because it's a bit mundane. So we can get it plugged into the old lathe. Let's crack on. Thank you. Anyway, that was quick. It's not what you might call a symmetrical piece of wood, this, or nut, or cone, or whatever it is. So I've taken the ends off so we can put it between centres and start doing the initial turning and then make something, though I'm not entirely sure I know what just yet, but it will be something. As you can see, it's a little bit all over the place, but we'll deal with that as time goes by. Hopefully we'll be able to find ourselves with enough space on it to mount it in the chuck jaws. I do have smaller chuck jaws than 50mm, so, or at least I think I do. So we might be in smaller jaws, but we'll see how that goes. A tickle on the Tormek. That's what 750 RPM looks like. That's what 1000 looks like. This is a dusty old wood. Well, at least there's, I don't know what it is. Do you call it wood? I suppose you do. Anyway, it's fairly vital you wear a mask for this because there's lots of fluff and dust and all sorts that gets up your nose. So yeah, anyway, there you go. Public safety warning out. As you can see, folks, we got through to the meat of the thing, but we got lots of fluffiness from the fur on there, so I'm just going to go one more pass, or two maybe. Crack there. I've not seen a crack in a banksia nut before. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, catastrophe has struck yet again. Let's give it a drizzle. I'm going to let that go off naturally because if I spray accelerator on it, it will just turn white. But in the meantime, you see these things? They're the seed pods. Clever little things. Wow, there weren't many in that one, which is nice. I'm going to shorten this down a little bit because I don't think I'm going to get that mounted in the 50mm chuck. Oh, let me check, hang on a minute, I might have a smaller chuck. I do! I have a much smaller chuck. A virginal chuck as well is a new one that I bought. Well, not quite virginal, but anyway, I think that's a 35mm one. So let's have a go at making a tenon for that. How about that then? That looks a bit safer. Now the question is, what can we make out of a long thin bit of banksia? I've made little vases before now. They're quite popular, but you've got to remember that a banksia cone is an expensive bit of kit, so you make a tiny little vase and put a £40 price tag on it and people gasp. So anyway, that clip of my video, the camera just turned itself off for whatever reason, so if there's a little glitch a minute ago, you know what that was about. So anyway, let's make something. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you wear a visor, because the tenon tore off a small catch, and that was that. Look at that little catch. Anyway, having never been a professor of skew work, I'll just need to remake another tenon. In fact, probably not a great idea. I might just work off centres. Enough of this messing around. I haven't got a clue what I'm making, so let's just crack on with it. might be wondering what it is I'm making. Still not sure myself, but I think we're erring on the side of a bud vase. Let's give it a slurp of some shellac. Naturally, your cloth gets caught in all the gnarly bits. Well, that's what it looks like after a couple of coats of shellac. It don't look too bad, does it? All I've got to do is part it off now and make an hole in the end. Hopefully. Okay, so I've taken off the bottom. I'll finish that with a little bit of shellac. Taken off the top. It's a bit scratchy, but I'm going to drill a hole in the top of it first. Freehand with a drill bit, so it won't be straight. A little bit more. Give it a little dab of shellac just to make the colour the same as the rest of it. Yeah, I'll put some down in the hole there. Anyway, as usual, my goggles are covered in dust. Here's my little bud vase. From a banksia cone twice its size to a little bud vase. I think it has a nice simple elegance about it, possibly. Let's see if we can get a bit closer. There we are. You could spray that with lacquer or something like that if you wanted to gloss it up a bit, but you can put a nice little bud in that and have that on your mantelpiece. I think that'll look nice. Yeah, okay. Anyway, on this really chilly day in January in Kent, in the UK, my hands are freezing, my toes are numb, and I need to go in. But anyway, before all that, if you've enjoyed today's little show, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe and share it about. And hopefully I'll see you again next week with another fun-packed episode of Click and Turn.
In a garden shed with tools all around. Click and turn's magic makes the sweetest sound. Spinning lumber and squinting under the light. Crafting decorations until the light.